that now. Yeah, that's pretty special. And I know you'd be pretty touched by seeing your mentors there, and they were the star of that show. And I said to you earlier, I said, I'm going to meet these people. They sound amazing, and now you've given me a glimpse into their world. I can see, why you're so close to them. And you never like to give credit for what you do, and I have to prize it out of him sometimes. Like, you've done so much. The country, you helped with that house back in the day, I remember that. So to hear it boomeranged back at you, how do you like that?
So once again, what you throw out is what comes back, and sometimes it doesn't come back from the person you throw it out to, and you don't throw it out to get it back, you throw it out because it's the right thing to do. But Errol and Nola Davis were there. We used to do a jigsaw program, and the idea of the jigsaw program was to empower youth, because their neural pathways aren't stuck yet. Often with older people, you find that you'll do a motivation session with them and they'll be revved right up, and it's not until the next day that they start to sort of go back to their natural neural pathways and go back to their old ways. And so the idea was to focus on youth and to make our next generation become better people, become more resilient, stop people from leaving this world earlier than they should by their own hand as well. So the jigsaw program was an amazing thing that I did with Errol and Nola, and they're now retired. They're 20 years my senior, and Errol just last year came and gave me all the information. He's an accelerated learning master, and I've learned a lot from those two people. And as my mentors and great friends, I always looked up to them, and it's interesting though that they always said that they did the same to me. It took me a long time to feel like I was actually on an equal par with them, but I'm slowly getting that. And Errol presented everything he'd learned over the last 30 years on accelerated learning to me as a gift to keep that legacy going, to continue to empower youth and make sure that they get the best out of their lives.
So tell us about the paper run days back as a youngster. There's a story there, I'm sure.
So I was a little bugger as a child. I was hyperactive, and it's hard to imagine. I think it's got letters attached to it, but when I was born, they weren't invented. So I think they got ADH something. But like I said, so hyperactive. So I'd get up at 4:30 every morning and annoy my parents by playing the radio or the stereo, and I'd jump around to either AC/DC or Michael Jackson in the lounge room at 4:30, dancing away, to which they weren't impressed. So my mother went to, I was 9.5 years of age too. My mother went to the Burke's News Agency and asked Mr. Burke if he had a job as a paper boy. And Mr. Burke was a gruff old fucker, and he went, "Oh, you're always looking for good paper boys, yeah, no problem at all." And he said, "Cool, can you get up early?" My mum said, "Yeah, 4:30 every morning." And he said, "Oh, that's right, okay, we'll send him in. Oh, by the way, Mrs. Bowen, how old is he?" "Well, he's 9.5. And Mr. Burke, just to get rid of my mum, said, "Oh, we couldn't possibly put anyone on until they're at least 10. And the difference is when you're young, what you hear to what's said is always different. If anyone's in a relationship, you'll understand that. So anyway, what happened was my mum came back and said, I thought about it. I thought, it'd be good to be a paper boy. So I said, "Mum, how did you go with the paper job?" She said, "Oh, Mr. Burke said that you couldn't get a job until you're at least 10. But what I heard was, Steve, on your 10th birthday, you can have a job as a paper boy." So on my 10th birthday, I woke up, I was that excited, I got up an hour earlier, 3:30. So I played the stereo for an hour, danced around the lounge room, and I went up and, unbeknownst to Mr. Burke, went there bright-eyed, bushy-tailed at 4:30 in the morning and asked him for a job as a paper boy. He didn't want to send me home because he didn't have anyone working for him under 15, and 14 and 15-year-olds don't get up very early. So I worked there for 5 years, and six days a week for 5 years, and they were, I had breakfast with them every morning from my youth, and I left that job and for some, I won't, I'll cut the story down. I'll probably finish it by August. But basically, I caught up with the Burkes every now and then over the past 25 odd years, and but I didn't sort of think much of it. When you're younger, you just take it for granted. And anyway, I got a call one day, and Mrs. Burke answered the phone, and she said Mr. Burke had passed away. And I was pretty shattered, even though I sort of didn't see them much, maybe once a year. And I went to the funeral, and I didn't sort of take much notice of what Mr. Burke or Mrs. Burke really had or did, or whatever the case may be. And anyway, she gave me a huge hug and said, "Oh, look, after the funeral," she said, "Can I see you in a couple of weeks?" I said, "Sure." So anyway, I went to see her, and I said, "I happen to help you." And she said, "You know that beautiful gold Mercedes-Benz that you always loved, and you know Mr. Burke loved?" I said, "Yeah, sure. Have you still got that?" And she said, "Oh yeah, we got that." She said, "I'd like you to look after it." I've got a lot of sayings, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I've got a lot of other things, so you've got to, fake it till you make it. And lots of things to make sure you get there. But being consistent is also the key, and having a fantastic family to support you is incredible. Thank you, Petra. I missed a lot of my kids growing up, so I'm making sure I had my 3 grandsons today. Looked after them all day. Man, they are energetic.
The universe is great like that.
It's a boomerang coming. But so I missed a lot of my children growing up from working every weekend pretty much for the last, this is my 37th year of doing entertainment. So I'm really, it's about living in the moment and being right here, being present, and living in the now.
And I think Tracy's out and about with the microphone. I don't know if anyone in the crowd had a question to ask. So while we're waiting for that, I can't really tell because of the lights. But I have a great story with you, Steve. I spent a bit of time working in Melbourne, and I had a stint at the AFL Players Association, and I was their media communications manager, and they just started to create the Most Valuable Player Awards night, and I had to all of a sudden organise invitations, what the banners were going to look like, the signage, the entertainment. Country girl doesn't really know a lot of city entertainers, and I went, bloody hell, Steve Bowen, he'd be amazing. They'd love him. Don't know the sprinkler dance, I don't think they'd come across that before, but the AFL players, we're talking the Wayne Careys of the world, the Nathan Buckleys, the James Hurd, it was that era.
They looked on a table of a number of those blokes, and
talk us through
they were fascinated. They were fascinated why someone from Albury would come up to entertain them. And the AFL MVP award, so they all sit on their own tables, pretty much, and so they all keep the groups themselves. And so when it came to the after party, I was engaged to entertain them, and they'd all stay in their own little sections, And so I went, like I often don't DJ from behind my console, and so I went out and got a few people and got them involved and got them up to do some things and interacted with them in the way that I like to do. And before they knew it, they were all sort of dancing to songs that they would never have thought they would have danced to. And I think that we made an impression.
I loved it. The country kids took over that day. It was hilarious. So that's just my own experience. We've got a question. This is from the Commercial Club. What's next, and where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? Still putting into the community, making sure I can be, just a part of it. I want to just dive in and do as much as I can to help Albury and Wodonga. I just love this region, and we are really from an amazing region. So for me, I've scaled my business back a lot. I used to have 20 employees at one stage, all DJs travelling around the countryside. I've got 2 who work for me now. And it's funny, it's interesting though, you think you're going to take over the world, and I'm starting to work a lot smarter. It's taken a while, and I'm keeping as much profit as I did when I had 20 as I do when I have 2, and I've got a lot more time on my hands to do other things as well too. So
So I'm not a politician, but we'll see what we can do going forward to just making this region even better than it already is.
Well done. Has anyone got a question? If not, we could sit here and talk for hours for sure. Oh, I'm ignoring the man in the front row. Anyone else? Anyone else? No, Kev Polton has known, you've known Steve for many, many years, so it'd be appropriate, Kev, for you to definitely ask a question or pass on a comment.
Now, Steve knows that I know the answer to this one, but the left-hand handshake.
Yep,
Can you explain to anybody else that doesn't understand it?
absolutely.
The reasoning and what I mean.
So people think that I'm not a traditionalist, but I very much am, and I like to do things certain ways. And so the tradition in Australia is that you do a handshake. The difference that I like to make my own twist about traditions is that I shake left-handed, and I've done so for 25 years because I love getting inside people's heads. I love the theory of understanding how and why we do different things. So I use people as my little laboratory over the last 25 years or so. So I shake left-handed because God created a few miracles and then He created right-handers.
Ooh, them's fighting words.
So, and just to create a great opening, it's just like a little. Everyone does like a quick little opening when they do either a speech or things of that nature. Obviously, some of my coloured suits are part of that opening as well too. It's just it's about being me. I'm not trying to do anyone else. I'm really good at being me, and that's all I have to worry about. I used to think I had to be like others, and I've learned as I get a little bit older, and it's okay just to be yourself.
Anyone else, folks? Like I said, we could sit here forever. We do have some more awards, so very powerful stuff, Steve Bowen. We're all mighty proud of you. We have all, well, everyone's grown up with you or been associated with you in some way, shape or form. A very worthy recipient, I'd say, of the Hall of Fame. So congratulations on your induction and the incredible contribution you've made not only to the business world but to the Albury, Wodonga and surrounds over many, many years.
Thank you. I just want to thank my